All right, welcome back to Getting Sober, again. My name is Jay, and today I'm going to talk about where I think I'd be if I didn't quit drinking alcohol. But first, if you care about your own sobriety journey as much as we do, we have hundreds of videos on the topics of sobriety and self-improvement, so make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. All right, let's get started. So today I wanted to talk about where I think I'd be if I didn't quit drinking alcohol. And of course, I don't have a crystal ball and I can't slip into a parallel dimension and check on Drunk Jay and see how he's doing or if he's even alive at all. But I want to talk about, with reference to what I've been able to achieve with my own sobriety. And it's easy to project, where you might be because we know the kind of bad habits that we were up to and the domino effect of one bad decision leading to another bad decision along our drunken journey. So first and foremost, I want to point out that had I not gotten sober, I wouldn't be here with all of you. And last time I checked, I think we just surpassed 43,000 subscribers. And I can't believe, honestly, when I first turned on the camera 5.5 years ago, that anybody would even watch the channel. Because I know, honestly, this is a hard topic to follow, especially if you find yourself not being sober after starting with the intentions on getting sober, being sober, and staying sober. But I always want to remind you that you're always welcome here no matter what, even if you have a drink in your hand right now. Just obviously don't talk about it. We're all on our own journey and we're all trying to make progress. So if I hadn't gotten sober, I wouldn't have started this channel, right? And this channel was honestly the motivation for me to get sober and to stay sober. And maybe you know the story if you've been watching this channel long enough. Only a month and a half after starting the channel back in 2018, I found myself drinking again. Let's put it that way. And I didn't name the channel Getting Sober again because I thought I was going to go back to drinking. I just named it that because I knew that for most of us, this isn't our first rodeo. And I know that it's difficult to get sober. It's difficult to stay motivated to be sober. And it's difficult to kind of gather all the information that you need to put yourself in the right headspace, to feel like you have a sense of community, to stay truly motivated when life keeps bearing you under the pressure of all your responsibilities, whether it be with your home life, with your professional life, or even amongst your friends. We all want to have a good time. We all want to celebrate. We know that those milestones are coming up. We know we're going to have a birthday every year, at least we hope that we're going to have a birthday every year. Our loved ones are going to have birthdays. There's going to be the major holidays, the Christmases, the Thanksgivings, New Year's days. We just had a St. Patty's Day. All of those things add up and all those things create a little bit of FOMO for us, the fear of missing out, because we used to celebrate all those holidays and pretty much all the days in between those days too. So I know had I not gotten sober, this channel wouldn't exist. And so think about that for a second. I'm going to talk slowly. Because what if this channel didn't exist? With over 43,000 subscribers, how many of you here in this community have been inspired and motivated to do more, to be more, who've gotten a response back from me, who've gotten a response back from somebody else in this community, who found the information that they were looking for, that maybe found a way to rebound after a relapse, where maybe one of our videos helped to continue to uplift you when you were down in the dumps, when you didn't think that you could do it anymore. And I just want to point that out because each and every one of us are capable of making a change in this world, starting first and foremost in the mirror. When you see that person looking back at you and you know what you've done to get yourself to where you are, I don't want to be here. This isn't where I deserve to be. And I know that there's more left to do in life. I know that there's more that I want to accomplish. And I know that if I could just get over this hump of the first couple of days of sobriety and the first month of sobriety, that I might actually be capable of doing more. I might be able to trust myself and believe myself. I might start to redevelop self-confidence and self-discovery. And I might start to find out what I'm actually made of, which is also too the slippery slope. I get it because some of us maybe don't want to find out that I'm not capable of more, and it's exactly as bad as I thought, and I didn't think that I would really ever amount to anything, and now I'm sober, and now I just have to do all this work. I get it, but I want to remind you that it gets easier. And over these 5.5 years, of course, I've had my bouts of going back to drinking and falling off the wagon, so to speak, but I know that, and I truly believe that we all have the ability to change the world around us, to influence our friends, to influence our family members, to maybe even influence our coworkers to make healthier and happier decisions in their own life. And I know too, had I not gotten sober, that my mom and my girlfriend wouldn't be 3 years sober. So today happens to be Cat Mom, who's my actual mom. It's her 3-year anniversary of being sober. And tomorrow is actually Sam's, my girlfriend. It's her 3-year anniversary of getting sober. And I'm not taking the credit. They made all those decisions on their own, just like you made the decision to not drink on your own. You made the decision to not go to the bar. You made the decision to not go to the liquor store when you had a rough day. And you made the decision that even though you fell down a few times, to get back up. And I want to say how proud I am of my mom for making this decision, and for Sam for staying by my side. And after meeting Sam, we were actually both very intoxicated. We met at a bar, and I told her, hey, I'm about to get sober. This is the last night I'm going to be out, so I'm not going to be back here anymore. And I just got out of a relationship, so I don't want to be in another relationship. So if you don't mind, I need to do some self-reflecting, and I need to go through my own montage moment to figure out, what I need to do. How can I improve my physical health, my mental health, and try to correct some of the mistakes that I made in the past, because life is a journey and we learn from our mistakes. Otherwise, we're destined to continue repeating those same mistakes over and over again. And you never know who might be in your friends group, maybe with your drinking buddies, or maybe just people that you haven't talked to in a while. Maybe your family members that you're gonna see on the upcoming holidays, or maybe coworkers at work that you maybe went to happy hour with after a long, hard day of work. You never know who you're gonna inspire along your sobriety journey. And I know that we all need to take the leap of faith. If you're anything like me, you didn't know anybody that was sober. You didn't know anybody that even just took a little bit of time off of drinking. I surrounded myself with all drinking buddies. I worked in the service industry. We worked hard. We played hard. We drank sometimes at work, and we drank for many hours after our shift was over. And then we'd wake up late the next day and then not have to be at work until 4 p.m. the next day to work that night shift and then do it all over again. It was self-sabotage, but that was what my life was all about at that time. And I know that I was younger and I was a little bit more reckless and I was a little bit more aimless, but I know that where I am right now and where I continue to go is something that I worked towards and something that I believe that wouldn't be possible had I not quit drinking alcohol. Which brings me to my next point. My mental health was more than in shambles. I was going to therapy. I was on antidepressant medications. My physical health wasn't good. My mental health wasn't good. And I kept trying to figure out what was wrong with me all the while. Every single night I was going out and I was binge drinking every single night. And I know that had I not quit drinking, I would still be on that same exact path. I would still be surrounded by those same exact people. I would still be putting myself in questionable situations that was a threat to my safety and a threat to my physical health and to my mental health. I was hanging out with people that were enabling me to continue having this good time. And I was also enabling other people to continue having a good time, which is another reason why I quit DJing, was because I was constantly going out to nightclubs and I was playing the soundtrack to this alcohol and drug-induced evening that they would probably not even remember the next day. And had I not quit drinking alcohol, I'd probably still be to this day on antidepressants. And all these years later, had I continued going to therapy and had I continued on with a prescription antidepressant medications, those prescriptions would continue to increase in dosage. And I would continue to go and talk to somebody to figure out what was wrong with me. And meanwhile, shooting myself in the foot, so to speak, by binge drinking every single night and watching my money disappear. I'd probably still be heavily in debt. At that time when I quit drinking alcohol, I think I'd gotten my credit card tab up to, no joke, I think I had $18,000 of debt on my credit card. And mind you, I had already, some of you know, I had filed for bankruptcy 13 years ago. My bankruptcy just came off 2 years ago, which now, of course, my credit is in much better shape. But had I not quit drinking alcohol, my credit would still be in shambles. After filing for bankruptcy, I still would have kept making room for alcohol. I still would have kept saying yes when I should have said no. I would have continued making room in my very fleeting budget for other substances besides alcohol that would have continued to deplete the amount of money that I had in my bank account and continue to rack up and pile up credit card debt. And I knew that once I saw my credit limits getting close to the maximum, that I was headed down the same road that I vowed to never be ever again. And of course, life has a way of throwing on responsibilities and throwing on extra costs and expenditures and moving costs and living costs and utilities and your rent and your car payments and car repairs, but it doesn't stop and it continues to add up. And I knew that if I had any chance of keeping up with these bills, that I was gonna have to do my best and I was gonna have to be my best and I was gonna have to cut out this thing that at times was costing me upwards of $1,000 a month from alcohol and alcohol-related expenses. And if I hadn't have quit drinking alcohol, I'd probably still be smoking cigarettes. And how many more cigarettes later would it be now? And how many packs of cigarettes later? And how many dollars would I have spent on cigarettes? And what kind of state would my lungs be in had I not quit drinking alcohol? And the combination of alcohol and cigarettes, what would that have done to my health? So I know that I can honestly say that it's quite possible that had I not quit drinking alcohol, that right now I could possibly be dead. And it could have been something from those risky, dangerous positions that I was putting myself in, from being in relationships that I probably shouldn't be in, from being friends with people that I had no business being friends with or associates with, putting myself in these dangerous and these risky situations all for the sake of a party. Or maybe I'd be dead because, I don't know about you, but after I drank, I wasn't the one to call an Uber or call Lyft. I was the one to drive myself home. I had my little neighborhood bar that was only 3 minutes down the road, but it was still a high traffic enough area that anything could have happened to me at any time, especially when I was doing it every single day. Every day of the week, I was consuming at least 10 units of alcohol or more. And of course, when we're tasting that high of the alcohol buzz, that high comes crashing down. When you come crashing down, but you want the party to continue, you do whatever you have to. You open up your wallet one more time and you spare yet another expense that you can't exactly afford. And maybe one thing could have left to another, and maybe a bag of this or a bag of that could have been tainted with something that could have stopped my heart. And some of you know that some of my lowest moments before getting sober was me in my basement alone pre-dialing 911 because I didn't think I was gonna make it, because I had the numbness and the tingling going down both of my arms into my feet, with my heartbeat rapidly beating 180 beats per minute for over 3 hours. I thought that I was gonna be a goner. I thought that if I could just make it through it this one last time. How many of you said that? Like, please God, if you just get me out of this jam this last time, I promise that I'll never do it again. I'll never do what I did to get myself here this time. But sure enough, a couple days later, after you end up feeling better, you end up doing the same exact thing because, well, you feel better. And maybe it was just it was a close call, but it was nothing to really worry about or panic over, right? So I know it's quite possible that I could be dead. I know it's quite possible that my physical health would be a lot worse. You may or may not know that I got diagnosed with acute pancreatitis. And one of the things that I did when I first got sober is I actually went to my doctor and I got my blood labs, keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that I don't have cancer or some sort of organ failure, or some sort of tumor or lump or growth somewhere because of my own fault, because I was drinking, because I was smoking, because I was doing other things late at night that I had no business doing. So I got those blood lab results and I found out that my fecal elastase numbers were not exactly where they should be. I'll just put it that way. And we did a random series of tests. We actually got it tested 3 times to see if it was consistent. And sure enough, I had acute pancreatitis and I had to go on these medications to relieve the symptoms of inconsistent bowel movements. I'll just put it that way. And eventually that did clear up for me. But we know that acute pancreatitis could potentially lead into pancreatic cancer, which the survival rate is only 7.3%. So that's yet another possibility of how I could have lost my life had I not quit drinking alcohol. And I don't know about you too, but when you drink, if you're anything like me, I didn't exactly know which version of me was gonna show up. I didn't know if I was gonna be happy, sleepy, grumpy, dopey, angry. And there were more than enough occasions where I had a little bit of liquid courage pouring through my system, maybe said the wrong thing to not the wrong person at that particular time, but I definitely had a few close calls where who knows if that would have ended up in a physical confrontation, and if I would have found myself winding up in jail, again. And over my drinking years, I wound up in jail 3 separate times. So had I not quit drinking alcohol, I could have found myself in jail for a 4th time or a 5th time. So I could be incarcerated had I not quit drinking. I could have worse physical health. I could have worse mental health. On the topic of worse mental health, I don't know about you, comment down below, but when I was drinking, when I was binge drinking every single day, I had anxiety every single day. I woke up with anxiety and I woke up depressed every single day. And a fair estimate would be to say that I had depression 5 out of 7 days a week. And the only thing that I knew how to do to relieve that depression was to go back to drinking, even though I knew that alcohol itself myself is a depressant. It was gonna make me feel worse, but I did it regardless because I knew that even just for 15 minutes or 30 minutes or maybe an hour, I can catch a buzz and maybe I can get a second wave of buzz and I could feel a little bit better. And had I not quit drinking, I wouldn't have been able to save up enough money, like I said, to get myself out of where I didn't exactly want to be, which was in Cleveland, Ohio. We recently, Sam and I, made the move to where we are now. And it's everything that I wanted it to be. You know, I kept thinking that Cleveland was just going to be a temporary layover, and it's not where I wanted to be, but it's where my family was. And then I would just temporarily regroup and get a job and get my finances back in order. Because again, I just filed for bankruptcy and I didn't really have much to my name, material possessions, money or otherwise. And I wanted to go to a bigger city. I wanted to maybe go to Chicago, or maybe wanted to go to Denver, and maybe wanted to go to LA or just somewhere else where I could spread my wings and find other creative people. But I also too knew along that journey something that is a fact, that it doesn't matter where you go, you're gonna take yourself with you. And so if you're depressed where you are, you go somewhere sunny, you're probably still gonna be depressed there. Maybe not for the first couple of weeks, but you're still gonna be subjected to being yourself. Whatever unresolved issues you have in your life are still gonna be unresolved. Whatever issues you have with your family members are still gonna be issues with your family members. The only thing that's gonna be different is that you're gonna be physically in a different place. And I know that had I not quit drinking, I'd still be miserable, I'd still be anxious, I'd still be depressed. I'd still probably be in Ohio. I probably wouldn't even be a homeowner for that matter. My credit would be in shambles. My mom wouldn't be 3 years sober. My girlfriend wouldn't be 3 years sober. I'd probably be on a handful of medications. I'd probably still be on antidepressants. I'd probably still be going to therapy, trying to figure out what's wrong with me and how do I fix whatever it is that's wrong with me, which was always still a mystery because, like I always say, I did everything to get sober except for quitting drinking alcohol. So for those of you that are sober, I want you to comment down below and comment where you think that you'd be if you hadn't quit drinking alcohol. And for those of you that aren't quite yet sober or aren't quite yet over the first couple of days hump or 30 days hump of being sober, look to the comments in each and every one of our videos, because I always want the comments to be your time to shine, to tell your story and to give your testimony and to talk about how your life's improved, whether it be your blood pressure improved, like mine did, like getting off of any or all medications like my girlfriend Sam did. She was on 6 different medications before she got sober, and now she's on 0 medication. She was also 40 pounds heavier. She lost 40 pounds after getting sober. And that's all because once you get sober, you start to make more room for more healthy habits. And you don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to be overwhelmed by sobriety. You just have to stay sober today. So if you haven't yet, don't forget to show your support for everybody here in the sobriety community by giving this video a thumbs up. And with that, I want to wish you good luck on your self-improvement journey, and I will see you in the next video. If you want to see another one of our videos, click here.